Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. This is your brother Sean Ali here, Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali. And as always, family, I thank each and every one of you who tunes in, shares some of your very valuable time and energy. And as always, I pray that these brief words are received in the spirit that I am striving to deliver them in, spirit of your brother, the spirit of love, and of course, and always, in the spirit and in the name of God. Family, have you been embraced by the sun today? Have you been embraced by the sun today? Right? When that sun touches us, it's like the creator touching us. You know how, soon as you stand in the sun and that ray hits you, like your skin automatically starts to energize, your body starts to automatically energize, and you can start to sweat and not even move it. I mean, just by the sun touching you, you can start to sweat just by standing there, right? That's the interaction. God put the sun there as the sole source of life and energy in the universe. So all life and energy, all life in our universe needs the sun for life, right? Pluto is 4,600,000,000 miles away, and the rays of the sun touches the planet and puts the planet into rotation and into orbit and giving life on that planet. We are 93 million miles away. The rays of the sun hits the planet, putting the planet into rotation and into orbit and providing life for everything on it. When you look at our anatomy and our physiology, our skin, and you look at the vitamins and the energy that we get from the sun, right? And one of the main ones, or really the only one that they will recognize or really talk about, is vitamin D3, or what is clinically known as cholecalciferol. And if you look at that, it's not a dietary element. When you look at cholecalciferol, vitamin D3, and you look at the human anatomy and physiology, it will teach us that 90% of our daily vitamin D3 intake comes from the sun touching our skin. See, this is a knowledge of self. This is science. Open up any science book and it will, anatomy book, physiology, and it will teach us that chemically, biologically, we are set up for the sunlight, the UVB in particular. When that UVB ray touches our skin, we have cholesterol under the epidermis, that layer of our skin. That UVB ray energizes. The laws of physics says energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's only transferred and transformed. When that UVB ray hits our skin, it energizes the cholesterol under our skin. It takes that energy, transfers it into cholecalciferol, transfers it to the liver. The liver will now transform it into vitamin D3 and disperse it throughout our body. See, so when we are looking at concepts like one meal a day, how to eat to live, fasting is our cure. And then you look, well, hold up. If I don't eat, where do I get that nutrition that I would get from the food, right? So when we look at life and you look at these things called the plants, right? Look at the plants, right? The plant is in the ground. The roots of this plant is in the ground, right? The roots of the plant is in the ground. The roots are in the earth, transforming and transferring the energy of the earth, the calcium, the iron, right? The magnesium, the manganese, all of those earth-based elements. But if you take your feet, what they call earthing and grounding, right? And you use your feet just like the plant uses the root. My look, it's almost similar. Your toes are almost similar to roots. When we ground and we earth, our feet does the same things that the roots does. It pulls those electrons. It pulls that energy from the earth, and our body will now transfer it and transform it just like this plant is doing. They call these plants are known as the producers. So when we look around and we see the plants, those are called the producers, meaning that they produce the chemical substances that we call vitamins and minerals, nutrients, and they produce the oxygen that we breathe. So through the process of photosynthesis is where they get the color. That chlorophyll is that dark green is what gives them that color. That's sunlight. Okay, so now only thing that plant is doing is sitting there. It's not moving. Its roots are pulling from the earth and its leaves are basking in the sun. So the leaves, through the process of photosynthesis, they are transferring and transforming that energy into the different chemical substances that we call nutrients. Our skin cells is similar to that. When we stand out in the sun, our skin takes that UVB ray and that cholesterol is energized, transforms it into cholecalciferol, transforms it or transports it to the liver. The liver transforms it into vitamin D3 and it is dispersed throughout the body. We don't have to eat. The same way you can touch iron and your skin will absorb the iron without you eating it. We can come out and we can ground, right? We have to practice grounding and earthing, and we definitely have to practice sunbathing, where we put ourselves out back out in nature because this is where life is at, right? So if we aren't surrounded by life, what are you surrounded by? The plants are the producers. They produce the oxygen that we breathe. So if you aren't surrounded by plants right now, then you aren't in an oxygen rich environment. Then what type of air are you breathing? We are aerobic. Aerobic means with oxygen. Every cell in your body needs oxygen, right? The main purpose of the heart is to pump the oxygen throughout our body to the cells, right? So when we are looking, this is a symbiotic relationship that we have between the producers and our life, our health, and our wellness, right? So the type of environment you in, it's either a stressor or it's a life giver. Because when we look at epigenetics, this is the outside influences on our DNA gene development and expression. Environment is one. You hear that bird? What are you listening to right now? That's God's music, right? See, we have to be able to reset our ears because our ears are connected to our brains, right? So when we hear that auditory nerve and system, it's directly connected to the brain. So our brain was created by God out here. If we don't recalibrate our hearing, if we don't recalibrate our hearing to become in tune with God's symphony, with God's orchestra, with God's harmony, it's impossible to have the best, highest mental and spiritual health because our brains were created by God for specific purposes and for specific places. Out here, those birds, those bees, the sounds in nature have the perfect decibel. They have the perfect frequency that when it hits our ears, it has a high impact on the brain. Serotonin is released, oxytocin is released, endorphins are released, dopamine is released. All of the good things that make us healthy and strong and peaceful and godly and righteous. Mm. So as I'm out here and I'm taking advantage, I just wanted to come and say, hey, family, Have you been touched by the sun today? Right? Have you been touched by the sun today? Being touched by the sun is being embraced by the creator. Being touched by the sun, when that sun hits you and it starts to warm you up and make you feel all tingly and start to sweat and energize, that's the embrace of the creator. Come outside and get your light. Your eyes, your optical nerves, they were created for you to look at these natural hues and colors. See, they were created for you to come out and admire all of the natural hues and colors. Our ears, our auditory nerves, they were created for us to hear God. How do you hear God? Through his creation, right? Our nose, our olfactory nerves, they were created for us to come out in the smell. Look, it's honeysuckles. It's honeysuckles over here. You could smell them. I could smell them. I could smell them as I was walking. See, when you see those pretty flowers, flowers mean life, because that's where the pollinators. See, all of the honey and things like that. The bees come here to these pollinators and they take the pollen from this back and they make the honey. That's what the honey will taste like. See, so when we see flowers, it's a few that aren't edible and that are poisonous, but most flowers are indicators of food, right? But I smell some, look, there you go. I smelled them honeysuckles. See, our olfactory nerves, they were created for us to come out and be embraced and imbued by the smell of God. Our skin, that touch, it's designed. We are designed to be touched by this breeze. Man, when that sun opens up your pores and you start to sweat, and then that breeze come through, woo, man, that's like the best feeling. Look, when you get that, when you out in the sun and just you ain't even doing nothing, but that sun opens up your pores, it's energizing you. You are eating, right? Your metabolism is speeded up, it's sped up, right? You start to sweat. Then that summer breeze come through. Woo! Cools you. See, that's God right there, family. Our whole nervous system was created for out here. Our entire nervous system. Have you been embraced by God today? Come on out and get your life, family. It's not too late. The sun is up, right? We'll let what tomorrow happens tomorrow. But today, right now, come out and get your life. Come out and be embraced by God. Come out and be imbued with life. It's your life, so you might as well come on out and fill your glass up, right? It's free. All you got to do is come out and stand in it. Family, thank you for tuning in. I'm your brother, Sean Ali here, Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali. Come on out and get your life, family. I leave you in the words of peace. I say, Namaste Hotep. Power to the people. Salam alaikum. Peace.